Welcome back into the channel, ladies and gentlemen. And ArriveCan, been a controversial subject over the summer, especially as travelers are coming in and out of the country, returning home from trips, and denying the app to the CBSA and public health. That hasn't come without scrutiny, of course, as people are starting to face fines. People are starting to have a little bit of pushback. And now, if you look on the Canadian government's website for traveling, it is now listed that the ArriveCan app, despite the fact that it's been spying on you, despite the fact that they're gathering information they shouldn't be about your personal health, is now mandatory. And if you refuse, you can face up to over $6,000 in charges. Well, it turns out that the Justice Center has brought a legal challenge against ArriveCan and its quarantine measures. There have been numerous MLAs and representatives that have called for the end to the ArriveCan app and its intrusive matters. Let's dig into the article and see what we have to see about this case. The Justice Center filed a lawsuit today in the federal courts of Canada on behalf of 11 Canadians either fined or not using the ArriveCan and or ordered to quarantine for 14 days after returning home from abroad. The applicants involved in this legal challenge have received fines of up to $8,500 each and forced to disclose private medical information via ArriveCan. The legal challenge seeks to strike down the mandatory use of ArriveCan and declare unconstitutional the 14-day quarantine requirements for Canadians who refuse to use the ArriveCan when returning home. I am one of these people that is far in agreement to the removal of ArriveCan. We're one of the few countries that are still pushing these intrusive measures and really draconian policies, while the rest of the world has learned to live and move on and declare that this pandemic is over. ArriveCan was initially implemented in April of 2020 to force Canadian citizens returning home to submit quarantine plans due to COVID. It was mandated for air travelers November 21st of 2020, and in February of 2021, the federal government mandated ArriveCan for all land travelers, while U.S. to Canada land crossings were still closed. After the COVID vaccine rollouts, travelers were required to upload their proof of jab onto the ArriveCan app. Matthew Lacasse, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, one of the applicants went to the United States for 25 minutes to pick up some parts for his vehicle. Upon his return, the Canadian Border Services, CBSA, demanded he submit his vaccination certificate via ArriveCan. He refused because he had privacy concerns with ArriveCan, but offered to present his certificate. CBSA refused to accept the paper certificate and issued him a ticket for $7,210 for not using ArriveCan. And that's really where this becomes arbitrary, is that people are willing to submit documents, and if they're refusing, do they really have the right to charge you with such an atrocious amount of money? Mr. Alexander McDonald, another applicant, attempted to cross the U.S. border in April of 2022. He was refused entry by U.S. border agents and was allowed to return to Canada without issue. Tried to cross the U.S. border again in July and was denied entry again and returned to Canada side of the border. This time, CBSA agent ordered him to download ArriveCan and submit to the 14-day quarantine, despite never having set foot in the U.S. So whether you go or not now, you have to quarantine, I guess. Amanda Yates returned to Canada via land crossing, and her husband used the ArriveCan on their behalf, but a glitch in the system sent them to secondary screening. She refused to disclose her POKE status and was fined and required to quarantine for 14 days. Her husband did disclose his status and was not required to quarantine despite living in the same house as Miss Yates. A glitch with ArriveCan sent an automated message to over 10,000 poked Canadians requiring them to quarantine for 14 days, and it took the government 12 days to inform the affected individuals that the app had indeed malfunctioned. ArriveCan continues to come under heavy criticism for creating massive delays at international crossings. In July of 2022, Toronto Pearson International Airport ranked number 1 worst airport in terms of delays, and there were also significant delays reported at Montreal Pierre Elliott Trudeau International Airport. The Minister of Transport has defended ArriveCan as vital in preventing the spread of the COOF, despite evidence that vaccines cannot stop transmission and infection. The minister also claimed ArriveCan has not caused the ongoing travel backlog, despite evidence that the CBSA agents have stated it is in fact causing delays. The Justice Center has filed a notice of application against the federal government and is awaiting a trial date. The Justice Center has heard from thousands of Canadians who have been negatively impacted by the federal government's mandatory requirement to use ArriveCan. Thousands of law-abiding citizens have been fined egregiously simply for returning to their home country. The differential treatment and discrimination between vaccinated and unpoked travelers also defies science, which the federal government claims to follow, says Eva Chipchuk, a lawyer on this case. And again, folks, that comes into my 2 cents about this, which it's been stated very often. Again, we have MLAs, we have MPs all pushing back on this ArriveCan and its arbitrary nature, saying that it needs to be scrapped. A recent poll from CTV showed that 96% of people wanted it scrapped, or I think it was 92, wanted the ArriveCan app scrapped. And really, with its intrusive nature and pirating of data, is it any wonder that people want this to be removed? The biggest problem at the end of the day is it's been reported by numerous CBSA agents that you do not, in fact, have to speak with public health. You can leave. Your passport does have a quote on the inside of it saying that if you live inside the country, you are not to be detained or delayed. If you are a Canadian landed citizen, and you're free to go, essentially. But now it would appear that the police, alongside the CBSA, are starting to get a little more aggressive with that nature by saying that this is mandatory, that it is necessary. And yeah, it's just more politics and nonsense coming into this clown world that we seem to be living in. Let me know what you think. Do you use the ArriveCan app? Have you used it before? Are you refusing to use it if you travel, or are you simply staying home because you don't want to go near it with a 10-foot pole? Make sure to leave your comments down in the comments section, and if it's your first time here, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. We do post new content every Monday through Thursday here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.